The night everything fell apart, Daniel stood alone in the pouring rain, staring at a phone that no longer rang. Every call he made went unanswered. Every message left unseen. In a single day, he had lost his job, his home, and the people he thought would never leave him. The world didn't just turn its back on him, it slammed the door shut. And just when he thought there was no one left, one small act of kindness changed everything. Before we begin, if stories like this touch your heart, make sure to subscribe to Kindness Story Hub, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us spread more powerful stories of kindness that the world needs right now. Daniel Harper had always believed in people. He was the kind of man who held doors open, who stayed late to help coworkers, who loaned money without asking for it back. For 10 years, he worked at a mid-sized company in Chicago, climbing slowly but steadily. He wasn't rich, but he was stable. He had friends. He had a girlfriend. He had a life that felt safe. Until one Monday morning, everything shattered. "Daniel, we're letting you go." The words came from his manager, cold and rehearsed. Budget cuts, restructuring, nothing personal. But it felt personal. Daniel sat there, stunned, as security walked him out with a small box of his belongings. He called his girlfriend, Mia, hoping for comfort. I can't do this right now," she said, her voice distant. "I need space, Daniel." Space. He had just lost his job. By the end of the week, she was gone. Bills piled up fast. Rent didn't wait. Daniel reached out to friends, the same ones he had helped countless times. "Hey man, things are tight right now." "Sorry, I've got my own stuff going on." One by one, doors closed. Within a month, Daniel was evicted. That rainy night, standing outside his old apartment with 2 bags and nowhere to go, he felt something inside him break. Not just hope, but trust. He wandered the streets, soaked and exhausted, until he found himself sitting on a bus stop bench. Cars rushed by, splashing water onto the pavement. People passed him without a glance. For the first time in his life, Daniel felt invisible. Hours went by. Then, a voice broke through the noise. "Hey, you okay?" Daniel looked up. Standing in front of him was an older woman, maybe in her late 60s, holding a small umbrella. Her coat was worn, but clean. Her eyes, kind, gentle, and curious. "I'm fine," Daniel muttered, looking away. She didn't leave. "Doesn't look like it," she said softly, sitting down beside him. "Name's Margaret." Daniel hesitated. Something about her presence felt safe. "Daniel." They sat in silence for a moment, listening to the rain. "Do you have somewhere to go tonight?" she asked. He shook his head. Margaret nodded slowly, as if she had expected that answer. "I don't have much," she said, "but I've got a couch. It's not fancy, but it's dry. And I make a decent cup of tea." Daniel blinked, surprised. A stranger, offering him shelter. "I don't want to be a burden," he said. She smiled gently. "Kindness isn't a burden, dear. It's a choice." Something in those words broke through his defenses. That night, Daniel followed Margaret to her small apartment just a few blocks away. It was modest but warm. The smell of chamomile tea filled the air. She gave him a towel, a blanket, and a place to rest. For the first time in weeks, Daniel slept without fear. The next morning, he woke up to the sound of soft humming and the smell of toast. Margaret was in the kitchen, moving slowly but with purpose. "Morning," she said with a smile. "Hope you're hungry." Daniel sat down, still unsure if this was real. "Why are you doing this?" he asked. Margaret paused, then looked at him with a thoughtful expression. "Because someone once did it for me," she said. "A long time ago, I was in your shoes. Lost, alone, with nowhere to go. And a stranger helped me. Changed my life." Daniel listened, something stirring inside him. "I promised myself," she continued, "that if I ever had the chance, I'd pass that kindness on." Daniel felt a lump in his throat. Days turned into a week. Then 2. Margaret didn't ask for anything in return. She didn't pry into his past. She simply cared. She encouraged him to keep applying for jobs. Helped him fix up his resume. Even gave him bus fare when he needed it. Slowly, Daniel began to feel human again. One afternoon, after a long day of job hunting, he returned to the apartment to find Margaret sitting quietly, holding an old photo. "That's my son," she said, noticing him. "Haven't seen him in years." Daniel didn't ask why. He didn't need to. Sometimes, people carry their own quiet pain. Weeks later, Daniel finally got a call. A small company was willing to give him a chance. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a start. When he told Margaret, her face lit up with pride. "I knew you'd make it," she said. Daniel smiled, but his eyes filled with tears. "I wouldn't have, without you." With his first paycheck, Daniel insisted on paying Margaret back. She shook her head firmly. "No. You don't owe me money." "Then what do I owe you?" She smiled softly. "Pass it on." Those words stayed with him. A few months later, Daniel had saved enough to rent a small studio apartment. It wasn't much, but it was his. On the day he moved out, he hugged Margaret tightly. "You gave me more than a place to stay," he said. "You gave me my life back." She patted his shoulder. "No, Daniel. You found your way back. I just held the light for a while." Time passed. Daniel worked hard, rebuilding everything he had lost. But he never forgot that rainy night, or the woman who changed his life. One evening, walking home from work, he saw a young man sitting on a curb, head in his hands, clearly distressed. People walked past, just like they had walked past Daniel. He hesitated. Then he remembered Margaret's words. "Kindness isn't a burden. It's a choice." Daniel walked over. "Hey, you okay?" The young man looked up, surprised. And in that moment, Daniel saw himself. "I'm not really," the man admitted. Daniel sat down beside him. "Do you have somewhere to go tonight?" The man shook his head. Daniel took a deep breath. "I don't have much," he said, echoing words he would never forget, "but I've got a couch. It's not fancy, but it's dry." The young man's eyes filled with relief. And just like that, the cycle continued. Kindness doesn't always come from the people we expect. Sometimes, when the world turns its back on us, it only takes one person, one moment, one simple act, to remind us that humanity still exists. Daniel was betrayed by many. but he was saved by one. And that one act didn't just change his life, it created a ripple that would go on to change countless others. So the next time you see someone struggling, don't look away. Because you never know. You might be the one kind act that saves a life. And in doing so, you might just change your own. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to Kindness Story Hub, like this video, and share your thoughts below. Let's keep spreading kindness, one story, one act, one moment at a time.